Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective Podcast. I'm Ted Types, as always, joined by Uncommon Fossil.
Look, glad to be here today.
Yep, and today we're taking a look at some custom cards submitted by you. We said some stuff about this previously, and yeah, anyways, we're ready to take a look at these. We've got a bunch of cards here. I will say, I looked through them first, and narrowed it down to around half of them. I did look through all of them though, and there were a handful of cool cards that didn't make it. I think the reason for those is some of them are a little too specific, I guess is how I describe it. But there are definitely some cool cards that didn't quite make it, but I think we have the coolest ones here, the most interesting ones to analyze. And ultimately, we have three categories, and we're going to be breaking that down kind of as we go through it. But Uncommon Fossil, what are your thoughts on like interesting custom cards?
Yeah, I mean, custom cards are more your area, right? This was like people doing it through your Discord server and such. It's something you do from time to time anyway. I don't deal a lot with custom cards, but it's fun to see, and I like these cards. I think they're reasonable cards. I tend to think of like custom cards being like absurd things, which to me gets less interesting. There needs to be some level of reasonableness to them, where it could be an actual card, which I think these are, but bring some interesting things. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to the discussion, a different discussion than I usually do. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it actually plays out.
Yeah, and in terms of like reasonableness, I think they should be a little more, a little more out there than a regular card, right? Because that's what regular
Yeah.
cards are for. But not like, completely incomprehensible, right? Sometimes you see cards like that, where they're like, really weird. But playing with the ideas is really fun. But anyways, I think we're about ready to start. We have three categories. The first category is like main attacking Pokemon. The second category is, um, like
Engines.
yeah, Dronjins there, like good like main Dronjins, and then the third category is just kind of like other, and yeah, the judging isn't really gonna be different from category to category. We're rating them from 0 to 5 or 1 through 5, each, and then we'll add it together, and have a winner for each category. But what are the things like that you're looking for that make a good card? I guess more specifically.
Obviously something a little interesting, something a little different, ideally, but not too different, right? To me, it should be reasonable as maybe a next step or something compatible. It should be obviously we're not. I think even it shouldn't be a bulk card, right? There's a lot of just garbage cards out there. Even if it's interesting, but it's like pointless. I don't think that's very interesting. But it also shouldn't be overpowered, which, like I said, I sometimes see that with custom cards. I see their HPs are absurd, or the damage level is like it's like well, that would be the great card. But no, if it's like super overpowered, it's not interesting to me.
Yeah. I think power level. If it's like a little off, I don't mind too much. But like, I think people sometimes overreact when I do custom card videos. People are like, wow, that's like super overpowered, and it's like a little stronger than like a good card. But power level I think can be tweaked a little. But especially with say like
Yeah.
engines, if there's a card that I don't know. So those can be harder. Like you can't really tweak the numbers on those. So there's some things that just like don't work, either because they're too good or too bad. But anyways, I think we're ready to hop right in to the first card, which is submitted here by Flint. This is a Sunflora. This card is a stage one. This isn't like the main attacker category. Some of these are more or less main attackers. This has 120 HP. It's a grass stage one, with the ability Sunseed Jazz. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon in play, you may attach a grass energy from your hand to this Pokemon. You do attach a basic energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon in play, and then Heath Seeker for Grass Colors. Colors does 120. This attack can used even if this Pokemon is in the bench. So I think this card is. I mean, obviously we've seen. Or what are your thoughts here, actually?
All right. First, the attack cost is 3. So, but with the ability, right, you can power it up in one turn, right? Use the ability to get 2 energies on and attached by hand for 1, right? I read that correct? Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's important here. It's obviously comparable to Alakazam EX, so we kind of have to compare it to that. That's a stage 2. This is a stage 1, so much easier to get going. HP is less, but it's a single prize. It's a stage 1. The damage level is the exact same. Dimensional Hand, which attacks from the bench as well, does 120 for 2 energy. So this does 120 again, but for 3. I think, like compared to Alakazam, this is a much stronger attacker, I would say. because it's only a single prize, right? It's more vulnerable, but since you can power it up with the ability, it's probably as easy to power up as Alakazam EX. It's a single prizer. It's a stage one Pokemon, so it's better than that. But which gets me concerned, is it too good? But Alakazam EX hasn't seen much play, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've played it some, and that's probably as much as anyone's played it, right? Because it just hasn't been all that good. It's fun, but it's not good. This kicks it up a little bit better, makes it a little bit more viable as an option.
Yeah. I think, yeah, in terms of power level, I think it's all right. As I said, I'm not too worried about power level for most of these cards.
Mhm.
The ability is interesting. It's a little weird. Like you attach the energy to yourself, and then you can attach another one. You don't have to attach a second one. You can't attach the second one without attaching the first one, which is interesting
Right.
to like accelerate energy to your board as well. Um, you were saying like attaching to yourself, which I guess is probably what you do a lot of the time if you want to like attack with it. If you like don't want to attack with it, it just doesn't work super well. It can allow you to burst different Pokemon onto the board. Like, I don't know, for some reason my thought was Blood Mercy Luna EX, but just, with various different Pokemon, you can like accelerate to them, which is like cool. And it is energy acceleration of every type as well. Obviously staple on the
Right.
fact that you need grass energy for itself. I feel like the synergy. Oh, I guess I didn't say this. One thing I do like with cards is synergy between like the different parts on them, in interesting ways. Where there's like, I mean, I guess it has energy acceleration to accelerate for the attack, but like, um, they feel a little separate, especially because like it can accelerate to anywhere, which feels very intentional. It's not just attached to
Yeah.
itself, but like you don't really want to be attaching somewhere else. Um, so I don't know. I feel like this card is like kind of cool, but the attack is, as you're
Well,
saying,
hang
very
on a
interesting. Like,
second.
yeah,
Yeah, in terms of the energy acceleration part, which you dove into a lot more than I did, I just talked about for powering yourself up, but we have other stage one single prize. I'm thinking of like the lightning Pokemon that accelerate to the bench from
yeah,
discard. This is from hand, but it is any type, so it does. You could use it just to power something up. Now you have to have three energies in hand to actually get an extra energy going, right? You have to have a grass to attach to this. You need to have some other energy to accelerate to that, and then a third one to attach, which is a lot of energy. But potentially it could be an engine for attackers as well.
yeah. I think yeah, the now you're saying like three. Yeah, that seems like a lot. I mean, if you want to like accelerate a bunch of energy, like because if you want to, you could just Crispin. I mean, that is your supporter and whatever. But if you want to get like three energies in a Pokemon, then that's five energies that you need. So yeah, it's like it's interesting, and it is on play as well. So it's like it's kind of clunky there. Um, I don't know. I like.
Yeah.
I wish the attack and the ability went a little more together. I'm not a huge fan of this card. Oh, I guess I will say we are going to be I'm going to be like a little harsher than a normal. This is a contest. But yeah, what are your like final thoughts on this card?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that the ability is only on play is probably a good thing. It's we already have Alakazam EX, so it's a modification of that, right? Which probably makes it a little less interesting. Although if we hadn't had Alakazam EX, I might be like, well, that's absurd. You can't attack from the bench. So it's kind of a funny dynamic there. So I think I like the card. Score wise, it's like a 3.5 in my mind. I'm thinking.
Okay, I'd say I'm like I'd say it's a little below average. So I give it like a two, with a three being like in the middle. You're going with what a three?
Yeah, I'll
Like,
stay away from half points for now. So I'll
okay.
give it a 3.
So this is a five solid starting place. But then we got the next card here. This was submitted by Risbersky. This is Archaludon GX. I don't know exactly where the power level on these cards is standing. Obviously, this is a GX era, or this is a GX, so
Yeah.
I don't know if it's meant to be played with the GX era cards. But anyways, you have Metal Fundaments for as the ability here. Oh, it's a Dragon stage 1 with 240 HP, a GX as well, which I'll explain GXs in just a second.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar, once during your turn, though, with the ability, you can attach a basic metal from your hand to one of your Pokemon. And then the regular attack, your Electro Shot, Lightning Metal Colorless, you do 150, and this Pokemon can attack next turn. And then Lost Bridge for Lightning Metal. It is Lost Bridge GX, I should specify. So it is your GX
Yeah.
attack, which you can only use one GX attack per game. You put 5 Pokemon from your discard pile into the Lost Zone. If you do attach 5 energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this card? Oh, it has a Virtue Cost of 3. It's very
Right. And weakness to fairy, which isn't, it's nice we see this is an older card design. So I think we have to consider it within that context, right? Because it's very much, which is interesting because the Archalon actually didn't exist back at this
Yeah.
time period, right? We had the basic Pokemon,
Yeah, not at this
right, but
time
not
either. No.
okay,
Um,
neither. So they took a newer card, brought it back to an older era. I think this is the only non-current card then that we're working with, but
yeah.
we'll find out for sure. So I like that part that they took in bringing something older. The ability is quite nice. So attaching a basic metal from hand to one of your Pokemon. Certainly, I imagine you would have liked that playing ADP, right? And I would not have liked and something that made ADP better would not have been welcome. So in that sense, the first attack is probably pretty fair for the time for the GXs, right? 3 energies, does 150, can attack the next turn. Not great, but that's probably about right. And then Lost Bridge, it's an interesting one. You're using your attack, but you're accelerating 5 energies. I mean, you put 5 Pokemon in the Lost Zone and then accelerate 5 energies to the discard pile. You have to get in the discard pile, but 5 energy acceleration is a lot. And obviously, if you have some other Lost Zone shenanigans going on, you get an extra 5 cards in the Lost Zone. So it's an interesting GX attack. I don't know that. I don't know that what decks that would have been useful with, but certainly the ability is probably the standout part if we're looking at playability with the card.
Yeah, the ability is pretty good. Honestly, this is a main attacker. It doesn't really fit that well into a main attacker. I mean, if it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I'm trying to think of how powerful the cards from this era. It's like it's not a super good attack. Lost Bridge is like it's fine, but Electro Shot is like pretty underwhelming, and I don't really care that much about it. I guess it's like it's an attack that's there. Having 3 things in the card is kind of cool, and something we saw a lot in the GX era, which I do like. But in terms of
Yeah.
interest, it's nothing spectacular there. I think Lost Bridge is interesting. You like put the 5 Pokemon from your discard into the Lost Zone, which is kind of like a cost. Wait a
Right.
second. You do if you don't have 5, does it work? I don't remember. Uh, but anyways, so you can like Lost Zone that those cards to like do some stuff, maybe like Lost March stuff or something, which is like kind of cool. But I mean, this is on a stage 1 for 2 energy, a 2 prizer, and I don't really like setup attacks on multi-prizer like evolutions. I don't like I don't love setup attacks on basics, but I don't hate them. But then there's also like the ability is quite nice. I feel like a lot of the time this would probably just be sitting on the bench. A metal deck, like accelerating energy. Like you mentioned
Yeah.
ADP, you probably wouldn't play lightning energy. Funnily enough, ADP does play lightning energy in expanded. I don't know how good deck is, but yeah, our Caledon is. I don't know. I think this card is. I wish there was more synergy between the different parts as well, right? I feel like there's not that much. There's some synergy with the ability, um, because it accelerates energy like with the last one. But that I think there's. I think the
Right.
ability is also a little less interesting than with the Sunflower we looked at.
Yeah, and the attack is pretty vanilla-ish, I would say. The GX attack is the most interesting part, but I also think it's a little difficult, right? Like I said, it probably only starts to be paid off if you really want to get Pokemon in the Lost Zone for some reason, which most of the time you're not doing looking to do, and it's a bunch of work, and I don't think you can do it like your first turn going first because you're not going to have enough stuff in the discard pile to make it worthwhile.
Yeah. Wait. What turn? You mean tier 2 going first, or
Yeah. Well, your first turn. Oh, yeah, turn two. Yeah, sorry,
yeah? It is
because
a
it's a stage one,
yeah.
right? You couldn't evolve, right? Even
Or
and as
attack.
an ability, so yeah. So, but because ideally you'd want 5 Pokemon. You need 5 Pokemon. I assume that's a ruling question. And you probably want to have 5 energies. That's a lot to happen or that quickly in the game. So, um, yeah, it's to me it's a little less interesting than the Sunflora to myself. So I'd probably give it a 2.
Yeah, I honestly give this one like a 1. I think this is like a little I don't know. I'd like to see a little. I'd like to see the first attack like kind of tie it all together. I like the Lost Zone attack. The GX attack is interesting, but I feel like there should be some payoff for it with the first attack, like maybe doing damage based on energy or damage based on like Lost Zone Pokemon.
Right.
Putting a Pokemon in the Lost Zone is interesting, but I don't know. I feel like there's something just kind of missing. I don't like hate it, but I don't know. And the honestly, like in terms of actual plays, would probably play a little generic, which isn't like a bad card. I suppose if this card is actually printed, I wouldn't mind that. But I like stuff a little more spicy with my custom cards.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if the main attack interact with the GX attack a little, I think that would be a plus for because just using it to power it up, that's a little boring and probably a little too much work anyway to pull that off. So all right, so it's a 2 for me, 1 for you.
Yeah. So that one. Then we got the third card here, though. This is Victini EX. This one's interesting. I think we talked a little bit about this card beforehand. This is actually one I was looking at quite a while before. This is made by Bad Hacker. This is Victini EX. It is a psychic basic. And it is a stellar slash a Terra. And it has the ability win condition, which says when you attach a special energy card to this Pokemon, then that card is discarded instead of being attached. And if a special energy card is attached from your hand to this Pokemon, this doesn't count as your energy attachment for the turn. And then you have Vix-White Victory, which is your attack here. Of course, it's a stellar Pokemon, so it's actually 4 different types of energy here. It's Fire, Water, Lightning, Psychic, Colorless. And then discard all energy, all basic energy in play. Take a prize card for each non-repeating energy card type discarded in this way. This card is, I mean, Uncommon Fossil. What are your thoughts? You mentioned this. You talked to me about this card a little before.
Okay, so yeah, so I think the attack for and it's at least 4 different types of basic energy. So you're taking at least 4 prizes and
Well,
potentially.
I mean, it could be. Yeah, I guess it can't have special energy on it. Yeah.
Well, I think it's from hand, right? You could attach it like with
No, you can't.
uh
If you attach it from hand, it's not your attachment for the turn. But
yeah.
whenever an special energy is attached,
Okay.
just period.
Well,
It's discarded.
yeah. I want to talk about the abilities in a second
Yeah.
because I have a weird use case for that. But the main attack is like you're setting this up and then you're just winning the game, which I think it's probably too powerful because you're guaranteed 4 prizes, right? Essentially, because you have
Yeah.
to have 4 energies. It doesn't even say
Yeah.
and
Basic
the only basic energies because that's all that's this
on it.
discarded. But so you're pulling 4 prize cards, and you probably have a fifth, and you can have some other ones elsewhere in play. So you're probably setting this up to win, and I don't think that's a great way to play a game. To me, you're just playing for this boom, you win the game. So I don't gameplay wise, I don't like it. It's a fun little thing to try pulling off once or twice, but then it would get really old. A bunch of people are doing this, I would say.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to think of decks like that, and the Pokemon just doesn't really have decks like it. But like other card games have decks like this, and I don't know. It's different. I mean, I don't even know. Like, I think it's kind of interesting being like a very different win condition. Funnily enough, I would actually probably switch. Like, I don't know. I feel like the second act like it is a win condition. I know Victor needs things like winning, but anyways.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, also reading this. So it says take a prize for each non-repeating energy card type discarded in this way. Does that mean like if you have 2 fire energies, you get 1 prize or no prizes?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I assumed it was 1. But that'd be interesting if you had duplicates. I don't know. We'd need an official ruling on that, wouldn't we? I
Yeah.
assumed you'd just take 1. I think that's the intent, but maybe it means you get none. In which case, it makes it a little more challenging, which is actually good, right? Having because, like I said, I'm concerned it's too easy. It's too doable. That's my
Yeah,
concern
I
with
don't
it.
know. I think it's like good in terms of power level, like powerful, maybe a little too good. And I mean, it is 5 basic energy on a
Yeah,
Pokemon. So it's like it's a pretty steep cost. I mean, like when Pokemon's introduced cards, I mean they had that what like take, but I guess it's like out in Ascended Heroes, the take 3 extra prizes if you got like all these Pokemon in play. Like that's kind of what they do for these like crazy quote unquote win the game cards, which that card's just like super
yeah,
bad. Um, or like there's the 3 unknowns which like win you the game. 2 of them are banned, but I
right.
don't even know if the ones that are banned are like super broken. And then specifically unknown hand. But then also there's the other one, which is like not even possible to pull off like in any game ever, essentially. So I feel like Pokemon just like doesn't really try to design these cards. I'd like them to see, as you were saying, like this kind of different combo style of gameplay, where you just have this alternate win condition can be a little weird, might get stale. But I don't know, I like it here. Um, yeah, maybe
All
the
right.
power
So
level's too high.
I mean, I like alternate win conditions, so I'm concerned it's a little too much. I think it'd be nerfed. The other thing, let me just talk about the ability a
Yeah,
second. So if you attach a special energy to this Pokemon, um, then it gets discarded,
yeah,
and it doesn't count as your attachment. So, and I could do this as many times as I want as well, right? I don't think it's capped per
yeah.
turn. I can just keep. I could. So, if I what so is there something where I want to get a bunch of special energies in the discard? Generally, you don't want to. I did enjoy playing like Blissey V, so that you accelerate 3 energies to yourself when you attack, and if you could get 3 special energies, and it could be special energies. So I think that ability is pretty good too for a deck like Blissey V, and probably there's probably some other things out there. I'm not sure. There's not a lot of things that let you do get special energy out of the discard pile, but I do think the ability is kind of fun. Although the ability and the attack, because the attack doesn't take special energy into account, a little out of sync, I would say.
Yeah, and I don't like mind abilities and attacks like being kind of like counterbalances to each other. They do feel quite different. Um, I will say, so the ability is actually really interesting in my opinion, because so one, you could like pair this with Recycle Energy, which gets if it gets this card, it
Yep.
goes to your hand. You like infinitely attach it. I guess infinitely get damage cards on this with like some stadium or something and expand it. I don't know. I don't think that like does anything, but just notice that. Um, but anyways, that's the thing. But then this also works. I don't know if this was intended, but there's fictional telepath psychic energy, which is not out yet. It's out in Japan. Which when you attach
Okay.
it to a psychic, you. Oh, were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Because this I might be overthinking this here, but when you attach it to one of your psychic Pokemon, you search your deck for 2 basic psychic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. There's also cards like say Capture Energy and Expanded, Jet Energy and Standard. Jet Energy was kind of bad, but and then like some medical energy. I mean, there's not that many in standard, but there's like these special energies that when you attach them, they do like a thing. Oh, enriching energy as well. You can use enriching energy, and it doesn't take your attachment for the turn. It like does its thing,
Yeah.
and then you lose it, but like it does its thing. So you can use these special energies like item cards, which is really interesting. I think. Um, yeah, I think that's like a really interesting like use case of this card. I don't know if that's like the idea of the ability, but I think that's interesting how it like changes special energies almost into items there.
Yeah, no, that part gets really, really interesting. Yeah, so it's got two things that are potentially pretty powerful. I think the attack is very powerful, right? Because the attack is you're designing it to set up that when you use that attack, it's game over. Using the abilities trickier, but it allows for some interesting things. Look, I think I'm concerned that the attack's too good, but I think the two things are interesting. Um, but I'm gonna probably, I think I'd give it a 3,
Okay,
maybe a 4, but probably a 3.
yeah, I think I give this a 4. I think if the only thing that would make it a little more interesting to me is like if the ability and attack maybe work together. I don't know. They're like different. They're cool. I really like this card. But yeah, I'm gonna give this one a 4 here. But then we got the next attacker here. This is summoned by Avalon. This is Cinderace EX. This is another Stellar slash Terra. Obviously a stage 2 here, and it's 320 HP Fire stage 2, and it has 2 attacks here: Fireball Kick, 4 Fire Colors to do 110, and then 10 more for each damage count on this Pokemon. Then Spinal Blitz. I don't know. There's like all people submit a lot of stellars, and they all have like names of rocks. And I like don't know what any of the rocks are. But anyways, 280 for fire, lightning, fighting. This attack can be used even if this Pokemon is on the bench, and if you do, you switch it with your active. Yeah. So what are your thoughts here?
I mean, the first attack is kind of generic, right? 110 plus 10 per damage. Although the 110 base is pretty high, so maybe potentially it's a pretty good attack. Obviously you got to get the damage on it, but with that, it's a nice base you're starting with. So certainly a viable attack there. Then it's really the second attack is the more interesting one with the two different energy types. And this one you can attack from the bench, which we had, of course, with the Sunflora, and we've got with the Alakazam. But this one, you attack from the bench. You can attack from the active as well. But if you attack from the bench, then it switches to you switch it with your active. So it attacks from the bench, but moves to the active. So typically, when you're attacking from the bench, you're hiding behind a wall, right? That's at least the way I played like Alakazam. You have something sitting up front that's causing or like a Klefki that locks abilities, or something that a Mimikyu that people can't do damage to, right? You're hiding behind that. So this one, you're switching to the active. So you're ending up in the active at the end of the turn, so what all it does is save you the switch card, right? So
Yeah.
attacking for the bench is a lot less useful. So the only payoff for that is if somehow you have a deck. Well, you can have there's the EX that you draw 2 cards, right? When it's in the active, which I'm blanking
Um.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. Kangaskhan. I mean, there's different cards like that. I mean, there's actually
Yeah.
also Golden EX, which also does that.
Yes.
And yeah, there's different cards like that. There's some like interesting synergies. I almost wish the first attack played with that as well, or had an ability that played with switching. Um, as you were saying, like the first attack's relatively generic.
Yeah.
I don't like have a huge issue. I think this is a little more interesting than say like the Caldon GX, which is just like you can't attack next turn, but it's not like super interesting here. Um, the second attack is also, I'd say, pretty weak. It's essentially just 2AD for 3, but it's 3 different
Right.
types of energy on a stage 2, which is with 2 prize there, which is like, I don't know, I feel like I guess this is on par for the power level of probably a lot of stellars, but most of stellar attacks are like super bad. So, yeah, I'd like to see
Yeah.
this be a little stronger the second attack.
Yeah, second attack stronger, or that first attack would it be better if the first attack switched to the bench or something? Somehow to try to tie the two attacks together, I think would be
Yeah.
better. But yeah, this is a card that's not far off from other cards that are around, I would say. But which makes it maybe a little uninteresting to me. Like I said, the fact that it switches from bench to active is okay, but it's a little dull as well, right? The fact that it just ends up with the active makes it it's not that hard to switch Pokemon in the
Yeah.
game now. So therefore I don't see a huge upside to that. So to me, this one's a little more dull. I mean I'd probably put this one as at a 2 myself.
Yeah, I'd give this one, I guess I'd give it it's between like a 1 or a 2. I would like consistently mostly giving them one lower than you. I guess I'll give this one a 1. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't like hate it or anything like that. Again, like the other one, I think I gave a 1. I like I wouldn't have an issue with this card if it got printed. But I'd like to see something a little more. I don't know. As I said, like in what we were saying, like maybe the first act switching out, would be I think a little more interesting, or maybe an ability that like tied it all together, or something. I don't know. It definitely feels like something with the second attack, but and maybe we're missing some synergies, but I don't really think so. Maybe there's like Palafiniacs might work there. I don't know, but like it's not like super good. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it feels like a card that could be printed that's you'd be like okay, right, when it was printed. That's how this one feels to me. So
yeah. Then we got the next card. This is submitted by Silver. This is Porygon Z EX. It's a stage 1. This one is not a Terra or Stellar. It's got 310 HP, colorless stage 2, and for each card in your Lost Zone with the ability Lost Transfer, you can use this Pokemon's attacks for 1 colorless less. And then the attack Lost Dive for 5 colorless here does 150 for each card in your Lost Zone. You may put a damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. There's obviously some Lost Zone synergy there.
yeah, so this one's an interesting one in that it's a current card, right? It's got a current regulation mark, but it's using Lost Zone, which we don't have, right? Unless I'm forgetting something.
Yeah, no, we don't have that.
So therefore, if I pretend if it was actually a current card, it's all kind of pointless, right? All the
Yeah,
Lost Zone stuff. In which case, the card 5 energies to do 150 on a stage 2 is terrible. So I kind of have to bring it back to I guess when we had Lost Zone a few years ago,
yeah.
to
Oh, I'm
kind
gonna
of try to go
mention
ahead.
there was a Porygon 2, right? That yeah, with the garbage attack. Yeah, that's the name of the attack, which is 20 for each tool in your Lost Zone. So I was wondering if those were meant to be paired together. Did want to mention that though. I'm not sure on that one. But yeah, so I'd be putting this into the Sword and Shield era of Lost Zone probably.
Yeah. So in which case you're gonna get cards in the Lost Zone pretty easily, right? Because it was designed for Cramorant to attack with what 4 cards in the Lost Zone potentially on your first turn, right?
Yeah,
Certainly on your second turn. So therefore, turn 2, you can attack for it for like 1 energy, right? Because it has to be turn 2 to get the rare candy and get it evolved. So the energy thing, you're attacking for 1 energy pretty quickly. I would say you're doing 150. A fine amount. It's 310 HP, so it's a little low, but that might be appropriate for it. It's an okay card then. It probably wouldn't have seen play though. Although,
during the
well,
Lost Zone
310
era, I think it's pretty
actually,
good.
I take that back. I was going to say it's not good because 310 HP is low now, but 310 was high back then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of thinking about this, I guess, in the modern era with the
Okay.
like past Lost Zone stuff. I mean, I wouldn't say the power level is that different either.
Oh wait. Wait. Hang on. So I'm messing up the attack here. So it does 150, but then you put a damage counter on each Pokemon.
On
For each card, you may put a damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon for each card in your Lost Zone.
Yeah, in
So
any way you like. Yeah,
So you're spreading more damage counters than Dragapult EXs pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Um, so therefore, it's pretty good. And that's doing 206. This is doing 150, and you're probably getting up to the same damage level pretty quickly, even exceeding it. And you have more flexibility. So yeah, so it is pretty good.
Yeah, I think
So
this card, I'd say, I think this card might be like a little overpowered.
Yeah, you probably need a cap on the damage counters or something, because if it's just doing 150 damage, it's not good enough, right? If you got rid
Yeah.
of the placing damage counters part, you just say it's bad.
Yeah, might
But
be okay. Like 150 for free on a stage 2 is like okay. I don't know, we don't really see free attacks very often. Yeah.
no, it's on a stage 2, so unless you have some payout at that time with the basic and or the stage 1, it gets tricky though, right?
Yeah.
That's and I'm not sure the answer to that. Um, so it might be too powerful. It could get nerfed though. So it has nice synergy between the attack and the ability. So all in all, I like the card. I will say.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. As I was saying, I think it's I kind of put it in. I think it's a little overpowered. Um, it seems like I think it's gonna be a better Dragon Ball EX a lot of the time. Potentially in a better package. Um,
Well,
I guess it kind of
yeah.
depends exactly what area you're looking at. But I do, yeah, as you were saying, I do agree that I think it's very interesting here, allowing you to obviously, um, attack for cheaper, and then also like spreads like fun. The Lost Zone era, the previous Lost Zone era had some interesting spread elements, I think. And also didn't like function okay with stage twos, but it was kind of sketchy as well. Um, yeah, I do like this card. Um, almost wondering if the ability and the attack should be counterbalances to each other. Like the one is good if you
Oh,
I don't know.
like the lost transferability is you attack for less. Like you attack for 5 if you have nothing in the lost zone, and then it goes up one, two, three, or attacks for free with nothing in the lost zone, and then as you get more and more, the attack cost goes up in a sense.
Yeah, something like that. Then I don't know, because obviously like once this gets you get like so much stuff in your lost zone, you're just like spiraling out of control, and you're just like spending like no like very minimal resources to get like so much output, like maybe 6 cards, 5 cards in lost zone is like pretty doable. And then you're
Yeah.
just kind of like could be even more as like the game kind of goes on. You can just be like just obliterating your opponent. So maybe make it like I might almost make it start cheap. Yeah, as you're saying, they start cheaper, which is interesting, and then you kind of like build up to, and once the game's going, you also have something like Mirage Gate, and like you're just getting more turns to like attach and stuff. So then you can build up to a big like powerful attacker. I don't know if that would actually make it better, or not better in power level. It may make it worse in power level, but I don't know if it would make it more interesting as a card design. But I do like this card a bunch here. I'd give it probably a 4.
Okay. And my thing, like I said, I agree it's probably too powerful. I would probably put a cap of like you can't get below say 2 energies cost, let's say, and you can't do more than 8 damage counters or something. I don't know, whatever. I do something to nerf it a little bit there, but I still like it. And yeah, honestly, I'd probably give it a 4 too. I like the concept. I like the way the synergy between the parts.
Yeah. Then we got the last card here. This is submitted by, or last for this type, this is submitted by T. This is Delphox EX, another Stage 2 EX here, again with 310 HP, with the ability Mystical Reading. It says you must discard an energy from your hand, energy card from your hand in order to use this ability. Then once during a turn, you may look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a fire Pokemon you find there, you reveal that, put into your hand, and then you shuffle the other cards back into your and then Mimicry Flames for Firefire Colorless. Discard a fire Pokemon from your hand, then select an attack from the Pokemon you discarded in this way and use it as this attack. Yes, obviously, part of the idea is you can get the Pokemon and then use it. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, so it's a pretty nice card. Is it good? The question is to me, is it going to be too powerful? Well, first, it's 3 energies, so you got to power it up. We do have Charizard EX to power it up, which in generally things with Charizard EX, you'd say you just attack with Charizard EX. Don't be dumb. Just use Charizard's attack. But this one attack obviously gets really interesting potentially. The fire Pokemon haven't been the greatest, so I'm not sure what you're going to want per se.
The other 3 Charizards.
Not the darkness one. Yeah, all the other charts are. So it obviously like expanded. Then you start to have some scary stuff there. I would say. And it's any fire Pokemon, so it's obviously evolutions, and you could be discarding other EXs and such. So you have a good chance to get it into your hand, and obviously we have good Pokemon search anyway. We have Ultra Ball too, so you're gonna get it into hand. It's 3 energy, which makes it a little bit awkward because but then again the attack I think is potentially pretty good. So I like the balance of the card. I think it would be an interesting card to have to play with.
Yeah, I think this is a cool card. I think it's a little more than I expect to see from an actual card, but like close. Which is I think a pretty good balance. Personally, I'd like to see maybe a little more chaos with cards. I will mention there's one card that was like super funny. I don't remember what it did. But it was like super chaotic, and I was like, yeah, there's like no shot they'd ever print this. This card's like funny. I don't remember what it does. It might have been like you like flip a coin for each of your prizes, and if heads, you like take that prize for like each player's prize or something. But anyways,
Okay.
yeah. So I think this like the balance here, it's cool. It's like it's fine. It might actually be. I'm gonna almost say it's a little weak. I mean, what we've seen like Reggie. I guess Reggie Draco was like kind of overpowered, but it wasn't overpowered when it came out. And this doesn't really have support super well, so I'd say it's like a
Mhm.
little weak. I love copying attacks. I think you like it, but I think I like it even more. Um,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
like
in Reggie Draco's copying attack is better in that it was for the discard pile. This one you have to get it into your hand each and every time, right? Either get well, now we have like the Night Stretcher to get it back, but you have to have some way to get that card back into your hand, whatever you want. So you have to do a little more work than with Reggie
yeah.
Draco. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, that's true. I wasn't really thinking about that. Like, I don't know, it's kind of comparing this to Slowking. We need it on top, which is a lot more clunky, but getting into your hand is definitely going to be a little more awkward than you're just compile,
Right.
especially when you are discarding it. But yeah, I think this is I like this card. I like the synergy between the ability and the attack. The ability kind of helps you in general as well. There was a
Yeah.
Delphox, I think, reveal that like is a setup Pokemon. I assume this probably doesn't really have to synergize with that. I don't even remember what that card does, to be honest. You discard an energy, Durante have like Revavroom, but I think it's better than Revavroom. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I like this card. Give it. I don't know. I'm between a 3 and a 4. I'd probably give it a think of leave a 4s. I'd give this one a. I'd give this one a 4. I mean, I like it copying attacks.
Okay, and I give it a 4 as well. So I like it, and I think it's more, which gets us. Are we gonna? So we have two that are tied. Are
Yeah.
we gonna talk about that now or at the end?
Yeah. Let's do the tiebreaker now. So we got Delphox EX and Porygon Z EX. So do you have like a preference here?
Well, here's my thoughts. I think the Porygon Z is more interesting. I think the Delphox is more balanced and ready to for actual play.
Yeah, I'd give it to the Porygon, I think.
Okay,
Um,
I know you like things. It is a little more interesting, which is something you like, and you're the more custom card focused person anyway. So Porygon Z is the winner for the attacking Pokemon category.
yeah, but I think like these cards are pretty cool. I definitely like the ones that are more out there. I will say, I think the main attackers had some cool cards. I think the other ones have some even cooler ones. So make sure you don't leave, I guess, and subscribe, I guess, while you're out there. But anyways, moving to the next category, we got like engine cards. These are cards. These are, I think, the ones I'm most excited to talk about. There's some weird ones in the last category, but I think the engine ones are. I like all of them. Anyway, so we have these cards which are used to, I think they all just draw cards in different ways and in pretty good ways. Meant to be like your main engine. Think of something like, say, Lunatone, or try to think of like maybe Dracoloak or like Enzark EX, but like these are pretty good for the most part.
Yeah.
They are varying power levels. But anyways, we got Kingler here, the first one. This was submitted by Wave. This has 130 HP, a stage 1 water, not an EX here, and the ability King's Sword. All these do have abilities as well that draw cards. King's Sword says once during a turn, you may discard the top 2 cards of your deck. If you do, draw until you have 6 cards in hand. And then Crab Hammer for Water colorless. You do 100, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. So what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean the attack is fine. It's 3 energy, so it's tough to power up. And the retreat cost is 3, so
Yeah.
which is very meaningful, obviously, right? Because air balloon drops it down to 1, so you still have a problem. But the ability is very strong, I would say. You're self milling 2 cards, draw till 6 in hand. Draw till 6 is pretty good. And I don't know. on a stage one. That's pretty good. What makes it interesting is your that self milling. So there are decks that want to get cards in the discard pile. You have the Cypher Manix code breaking to potentially control what the top two cards in your deck are as well. So besides just being a good engine, there's decks like Cinderace. So there's a number of, there's things that want to get cards in the discard pile as well as just the draw part. So I like the ability. I think it's a very interesting combination. I don't know that I've seen this in a card before, so I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's really clean. Um, it's interesting. You were saying like some decks kind of like the self mill, but it's like I feel like using Cypher Mania's code breaking to mill is pretty
Yeah,
like not that good. Um,
no,
I think you'll be milling random cards from yourself, which can get like really scary. But we played like Mad Party where you're discarding a lot, and sometimes you just lose your
right.
resources, and it's chaotic. Um, it is good. I guess my only complaint about this is that it's very good. It might be a little overpowered. I don't think it's quite there. I think it's certainly within the realm of balanced. But like this would be played a lot if it was in standard. And then you'd be like playing these games where like sometimes you just get a little unlucky, just be in a really bad spot. But I do like this card quite a lot here. I think as I said, it's pretty simple, but not like as you're saying, this isn't something we've really seen before. This interesting combination. I think the attack's kind of bad. It's like a little on theme with milling. I might like to see this be a little more. But I don't know. I really like the ability here. I'm not gonna like complain about the attack. I could have honestly seen it not have an attack. But every Pokemon in the Pokemon TCG really has an attack. So, and all the
Yeah.
cards here today, all the Pokemon do as well. But yeah, I'd give this one a. I don't know. Actually, where do you go? I'm not sure where I want to say yet.
I probably give it a 4. One of the things that I think is interesting, honestly, it's a 4. I could even potentially give it a 5, but I'll probably go stick with 4. I think it's one where the ability is really good and it's really aggressive because you're milling 2, drawing a bunch of cards, and it's one where as the game goes on, like 4 turns in, you might not be able to use it, right? It's one of those engines potentially how you're playing. Because I think it's designed to be with aggressive decks. You also you just shut down. You can't use it, which is also interesting though, right? You use it, you get going, and then all of a sudden it becomes something that you just stare at, right? The rest of the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, I think I will give this one actually a 5. You were saying you're on the fence. I was also on the fence between 4 and 5. So yeah, I really like this card. If its design just feels really clean. I think a sign of a good custom card is, a complicated custom card can be good, right? But if the card
Yeah.
doesn't have to be complicated, and it's cool, I think that's even like better. So I really like this card here. Then we got the next card. This is Espathra submitted by Down. This is another stage one. Oh wait,
It's a basic, but it's a Spather, which is always a stage one. This one is a basic
yeah, this
though.
is I think supposed to be a stage one. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Uh, Paolo, like Mind Zap's really powerful for a stage. Okay, so I'm gonna assume it's a stage one. There's a mistake made here. I didn't even like notice that when I was looking at these earlier. I guess I should probably check in Discord after this. But ability restructure once during your turn, you may discard one card from your hand. Put one card from your hand into the Lost Zone. If you do, also there's like a lot of Lost Zone cards here, which is like kind of interesting. But
Yeah.
anyways, so you discard a card, put one into the Lost Zone. If you do, you may draw one card from the bottom of your deck and one from the top of your deck here. Also does 70 for one Psychic. As I said, I think this is a stage one. I'm gonna quickly check that.
Okay. So wait. So you're it's a weird combination is my thought. So you're discarding. You need 2 cards in hand, right? You need one to discard, and you put one in the lost zone. And then you're drawing 2, one from the top, one from the bottom, which is I don't know that anything's been from the top and the bottom before. So it's is are we gonna be in an era where we want to get cards in the lost zone? In which case, it's good getting one in the lost zone, and having to discard a card is another cost to pay, but it's not as heavy a cost as a lost zone because there's potential to recover it. So that's kind of balanced, but you do that to get 2 cards. I'm a little not sure that it gives enough payoff for it. Are you ready to
Oh,
talk more?
I guess I couldn't find it. I think Discord changed its
Okay.
searching features, or maybe I'm just being silly. But anyways, yeah. So I think it's like I agree with like the fact that like Lost something's kind of weird. I don't know. I found this card really interesting because it is all over the place, but like it's kind of like intentionally a little chaotic. I will say drawing from because I think before this we talked about like I don't remember there was a word you used and I like misinterpreted like we had different like definitions of it. But I think
Okay.
this card is physically like a little complicated. Drawing from the bottom, like I don't know, that like kind of sucks, like physically, because you got to like pick up your deck. But anyways, um, that I'm not gonna hold that against it. I think it's kind of fun. Um, yeah, it's like it's weird. Obviously, drawing from the bottom essentially with like Iono and stuff. I think assuming this is a stage one, I think if this is a basic, it's like kind of broken. I mean, I don't know if broken, but it's quite good. I mean, I don't know. I guess you like get rid of two to draw two, right?
Well, see, let's see if it was a basic. I don't think as a draw engine it's not broken because you're having to get rid of two cards, which you can do, but you can't do that all the time.
I mean, you could just like dig
Um,
through your deck super aggressively, and you also have a really good attack for a basic. So I'm pretty sure it's a state. I mean, not
okay.
like a broken attack, but like Soul Rock and Fan Rotom are like pretty good. This is like better than them. I mean, they're like fine, right? But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah. So assuming this is stage one, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty like all right. I mean, what like Enzoric EX is, and like cards like that, discard one, draw two. This is like discard two, draw two. Um, kind of.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of simplifies down to discard two, draw two a lot of the time, which is a little boring. Though in Lost Zone, it's like obviously a lot better.
Right. I mean, to make sense of the card, I have to again transport myself back to the Lost Zone era where I have a payout for the Lost Zone, in which case it becomes really good, right? You're Lost Zoning and you're drawing as well. So it would be very good, and maybe it starts to get too good. Then it's without the Lost Zone era, then it's kind of the Lost Zone part's just a little more gimmicky. So within the Lost Zone era, it starts to get pretty good. Um, I'd probably give it like a three. I'm just kind of a little mixed on it. The card's very mixed. It's a weird card, and I'm still trying to get my arms around it. I gotta say.
Yeah, I agree with that, which I think is what makes it interesting to me. So I'm also gonna give it a three. I think it's like a solid card, like a really I mean, we're obviously three right in the middle there. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's a cool card, but it's a little weird, which is kind of cool, but kind of weird. Then we got the next card. This is Rattata, submitted by Corey. This is a basic Pokemon with 40 HP, got basic colorless Pokemon, and the ability Scurry is once during your turn. If this Pokemon is in the active spot, you can draw a card for each Rattata you have on your bench. Then switches with switch one of your bench Pokemon to the active. Then you can't use more than two Scurry abilities each turn. And then you have the attack Rat attack for one colorless. You do 30 for each Rattata on your bench here. So yeah, I think this is an interesting card, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
I mean, one thing that's interesting, this is the basic, and there is a stage one, so that part is interesting there. Um, so you can draw a bunch of cards. That's really good. And then you switch with one of your bench Pokemon, so you're doing it, and you're doing it again. Does the ability start to get to be too good, right? Are you drawing too many cards? Especially, I think it would probably be better if it was on the on the stage one on the Raticate, just because I think you're drawing too much myself. I don't. Now it's capped at two per turn, which I don't know if there's been anything else in the game that's capped at two. Right?
Yeah.
Usually it's unlimited or one, so that's okay that they did that. But interesting to point that out. And then the damage is pretty well. It's you're doing 60 or 90, right? Because you're having either two or three basics on the bench. If you don't have two or three basics at least two basics on the bench, you're not in a happy situation, probably, right?
Yeah.
Or you're just using it to draw. You could also just using it as your draw engine, right? Because you switch and then you can swing into another attacker, which isn't a bad option as well. In which case, you just need you still want multiple. You still want to have like a couple on the bench, though, right? So
Yeah. I mean, the more you
it's a
have, the more you're drawing
right. So you're drawing two or three cards each turn.
per ability.
Um, Right, assuming you have at least three in play, and you're switching, it allows you to switch. I'm inclined to think it's a little too powerful myself, though.
Yeah, the draw is very good. I think it is a little too good. It kind of so I was like a little unsure on exactly what cards it was going to include. I was like thinking of this card, and so I think the attack is. I mean, like the attack's not super good, and it's very low HP, so it's kind of vulnerable, and it like takes up a bunch of
Yeah,
bench space, so it kind of like eats away at it. And I was thinking, so we play a game called Dominion a bunch together, right?
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
see,
Different
do you
card
see where
game.
I'm
Yeah.
going with this?
Oh, with the rat, the rat's card.
Yeah, which kind of
In
eats
the
away
game.
at you. It like takes up a lot of space. Admittedly, that's like
Yeah.
not super. I guess I don't know. I guess if you do it right, it's good, but I don't. But yeah, this is like that. It made me think of that, which is kind of funny. Um, it kind of like takes up a lot of space, and they're pretty substantial liabilities. So I like that aspect of it. But yeah, it is. I think it's like it just draws a bunch. Um, I'd like to see maybe. I mean, I guess these are draw engines, but I guess the attack's fine, especially for just like a basic and a previous evolution basic. But the ability is, I think, a little strong. It's not like super interesting. Like it's just like, yeah, get how much these onto your bench, and it switches itself out as well. Maybe it should just switch itself. I might like this more if it switches itself with just Rattatas, forcing you to like attack with Rattata or use a switch. Just like use a little more,
Right.
because this you can just plop 4 of these down, like Buddy Boy Poffin, Buddy Boy Poffin. Um, I'm going to be drawing 6 more cards every turn for the rest of the game, or maybe not quite. And I got these like liabilities. There's some matchups where it doesn't even matter. Some matchups where it's like super bad. But then, yeah, ultimately that's like low commitment, and then it switched itself out. Like, so you don't like need to be worried about that. I feel like I'd like to see something there. I don't know. I'm generally not too worried about parallels, but I do think this one is a bit much.
Yeah, and actually, in this, we have the eradicate in format. Although I guess that's rotating, but it for 2 energies does 30 plus 30 more for each damage counter to your opponent's active Pokemon. So if you smack away with one Rattata, you have a good chance for a knockout with the eradicate the next turn too, right? So because the Rattata's damage level's not great. I mean, it's not bad considering it's a draw engine, but it's also you're not winning games with that level of damage. But then you have the Eradicate to bump it up. But I am concerned that the damage level's too. I mean, the draw part's just potentially too powerful. Like I said, I don't know if it was on the stage one, if it'd be better, or if that would be too much of a nerf, and therefore you just wouldn't want to use it.
Yeah. Um, I could even see this being like, say, the stage one drawing for each basic you have or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, overall, where do you? I guess I'm trying to think where I'd put. I think I'd put this at a 3. I think it's like fine. I think it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think a three. I've been kind of struggling with it myself, but it's a good idea. I think it needs some. It's fine. It needs some finessing to get it balanced out somehow. Not there's a number of directions it could take, but it's it's a solid concept though.
Yeah. Then we have the next card. This is the last of the engine cards. This is Love Disc. This is
Yep.
submitted by Darth Zigzagoon. This has the ability Attract. So in your turn, you can you may use this ability only if there's another non-psychic Love Disc in play, and then you discard a supporter from your hand. Um, and then uh, if the supporter has the word draw and it attacks draw 3, potentially there could be some like translation issues. Though I don't think there actually would be with this card, but I want to mention that. I should have talked about that in Discord. I think it was about other cards. And then
Hmm.
Rainbow Beam for 1 psychic, you do 30 times. So it's you may reveal any number of basic energies from your hand. Does 30 for each type of basic energy shown in this way. I want to quickly double check that there's yeah, okay, there's a psychic, or sorry, there's a water love disc, which is actually rotating, but like, we're assuming there's a water love disc. Um, what are your thoughts here?
I mean, the ability is fine.
Yeah,
It lets you play some supporters. I don't know how many supporters that I would normally play fall into this category.
I think most of them.
Um, okay, and if
Like
not,
Lily's
you know,
Iono research.
yeah, that's yeah. So having be able to just play quote play a supporter, which as an item, and draw. Now, wait, you're not actually using the ability, right? So you're not playing
Yeah,
it. It
this
doesn't
isn't.
matter.
Yeah, this isn't limited to once per turn. I feel like it should be limited to once per turn. Maybe
So you're
not though.
drawing three. Yeah, drawing three. So yeah, you can do it multiple times. I think the honestly, my concern is the attack. I gotta say, because you put it in the draw engines, but for 1 psychic, you've revealed any number of basics and 30 per basic energy. Look, I like attackers like this, attacks like that. They tend to not be that good. I will acknowledge that. So I may be overestimating it, but 30 per energy. And you don't discard them, right? You just reveal them. They stay in your hands, so your opponent has to Iono you to disrupt you. So you're doing pretty good damage with the ability. So I honestly, my concern is that it's overpowered.
Yeah, the attack there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can definitely see that. Yeah, I feel like the attack should be. Oh no, I'm not sure. Oh no, I think the attack should shuffle them into your deck maybe. And I think it should probably be weak to it in general, to be honest. But I don't know, the attack and the ability like aren't really related. I guess there's the rainbow idea of like, oh, you have like different types or something. I don't know. But that might even be a bit of a stretch. I do like the ability. I think it's cool. As I said, there are a lot of good draw supporters that draw cards, but there are some like, if they're good supporters that don't draw you cards, and there are like mediocre supporters that do draw you cards. And for example, there's like obviously Boss Orders, very good supporter, doesn't draw you cards. There's the
Right.
supporter Rhyme, which is like it's a lot worse than Boss Orders, but it does draw you cards, so you can like use it in this situation. Might make it a little interesting. I don't know. I think this card is kind of cool. It reminds me a lot of Lunatone with the ability, which I guess I like Lunatone. I mean, we obviously have Lunatone already as well. And then like yeah, in terms of like interest, not power level, I think this card is quite good. Yeah, I'd say I wasn't really thinking that much about the attack, but yeah, it is pretty powerful. So yeah, I don't have too much more analysis on this card though. As I said, I would like to see some more synergy or something between the attack and the ability.
Yeah, like my concern is just how powerful it is. Either you probably, if you're going to allow multiple uses, you probably have to drop it to two, which, but because you still can easily do it twice per turn, right? So four extra bonus cards plus playing your supporter and your items is pretty nice, I gotta say. And you can go a little more supporter heavy, which I know you like that. Or like make it maybe just once per turn, then you might even bump it to four, right? Three or four, that'd be fine too. So I think it needs some tweaking. I think it's too powerful how it is now. I like the concept though. So I'm between three and four, I gotta say. Um, I'm my concern is it's just a little too much, but you can easily make some changes to get there. So I'm gonna give it a four.
Okay, I'll give this one a 3. I think it's fine. I think it's interesting, but as I said, there's some changes I'd like to see there. So yeah, those are the 4 we got for this category. I want to kind of balance it. There's like a lot less engines than other categories. There's a couple engine cards I think I didn't impute. But they didn't quite make the cut. But yeah, this Love Disc is a cool card. I think all these I like these quite a bit. I think the engines are really cool. I don't think there's like any that I don't really like. But yeah, the one that did end up winning here was the King Lair. The King Lair I think is like super good. Being a pretty clean design. I think the simplest
Yeah.
of all of them, and also I think the most interesting, which is really good. Submitted by Wave. But then we have the last category. We've got 5 cards here. We're running a little long, but that's fine. So these are the other category. I think I describe it as other support. So like secondary attackers, like utility abilities or attacks, or some of these are trainers. There actually I don't think were any trainers submitted in. Well, okay, there obviously weren't any trainers submitted in the main attackers category. But in terms of engines, I like said you could do like a draw supporter as well, which no one did. But anyways, we got some trainers. I think a trainer and special energy here. But anyways, we got the first card submitted by Hanzi here. This is Drampa. It's a dragon basic for with 140 HP, and then for 3 colors. So you have the attack Composed Guardian, which says it does 150. Then during your opponent's next turn, your Pokemon except any Drampa take 150 less damage from attacks here.
Yeah, I mean, back in like the Regidrago V-Star days, this would have been a really nice card to have, right?
Oh yeah.
150 and 150 less. So I'm glad it wasn't around with that. It's 3 energy, so it makes it a little tricky to get powered up, but that's good, right? On a single prize. Pokemon basic, a 150 damage, very nice. And then 150 damage less the next turn. Now, the thing is, your Drampa is sitting in the active, so it probably just gets knocked out, right? So that effect of the attack, what it does is it protects like your Pheasant Deputy EX on the bench, right? Which
Yeah.
does have value. So your Drampa's getting knocked out. It takes 3 energy, so you have to, so you have to. You're probably not streaming Drampas because I don't think you're powering up that easily. But then you're attacking with something else. So it's a good card. Um, it's probably a fair card, is what I'd say, because it's not protecting itself. That's the interesting part. I don't know if 150 damage that it's doing is probably too much damage, I would think, but I think it's interesting with the effect of the attack.
Yeah, I think in terms of the power level of the like 150, it's like above where Pokemon would put it. But they tend to make these cards like not very good. So I think it's actually like
Yeah.
fine. Like I could see this card seeing play, but or not. Like I think the power level is really spot on here actually. Um, in terms of like actually being interesting. And a lot of time will just be 150 for 3, but it has like some interesting stuff here. I think this is a pretty clean design. Um, Definitely one that I really like. I liked when I saw this one. It was like this is interesting. Um, it could also stop some spread stuff. sometimes.
That,
You
that's
know,
true.
I'm trying to
Yep.
think. I think obviously the first Pokemon I thought of when I thought of Spreadway was Dragapult, which just doesn't stop. But like Will-Smith or Pontiacs or something, it is an effect on like not the jump, it's on you. So that will not be stopped when it's switched out. By the way, if you're wondering about that. But yeah, so I like this card. I'm not really sure. I think I'd give this one a 4 here. I like it quite a bit.
Okay, I think I'm going to give it a 3. I will say I do think the energy cost shouldn't just be colorless, though, right? As a dragon type, it should have 2 types of energy,
I
right?
think Drampa has had
Let me call it up.
okay, Drampa often has colorless attacks. Um, on dragon type Pokemon.
Oh,
It's got like 4
yes.
dragons or something, 5, something, I don't know. And yeah,
Yep.
the only one is not colorless. So yeah, I think that is fine. Um, yeah, I could see being multiple types of energy though as well. Yeah, but moving on to the next card here. This is submitted by who's some of this? Maxim. This is Rift Energy. This might be the most complicated card we have here. This is a special energy.
Yeah.
And it says when this card would be attached to one of your Pokemon in any way, put it next to your active Pokemon. And then at the beginning of your turn, this card is next to your active Pokemon, attach it to that Pokemon. As long as this card is attached to one of your Pokemon, it provides every type of energy, but only one at a time. So what are your thoughts here?
All right. So first, and if it would be attached, so basically from hand, from an ability of a Pokemon, whatever, or like a supporter, whatever, and anything, it goes next to the active Pokemon. So even if you would attach it to, so if you had something that could accelerate special energies to the bench, it would go next to your active, which is an interesting thought. But so my question is, but it just sits there till the start of my next turn. If my active Pokemon is knocked out, do I lose the Rifted Energy, or does the Rifted Energy sit there
I think
in my next
sits
Pokemon?
there.
Okay, because that's a big deal, obviously, right? Whether
Yeah.
it goes away or
I
not.
think if it goes away, it's really bad. I think it sits there. That's my thought.
Okay, so let's assume it sits there because otherwise it's not very good. Now it's your attachment per turn unless you have some way to
You got the
accelerate.
Victini
But
that we talked about
yeah,
earlier. Yeah.
so the one that gets discarded, right? So yeah, so they just stack up there. But so it's an interesting card. Is it when's it useful? That's what I'm not sure, and I don't. Do you have a good answer for like the use case of this card?
Um, maybe I don't know, like maybe something like Dragapult EX where um like you can attach it and then like it kind of stays like it kind of moves around, right? Um, I think so then like if your active is knocked out or if it's not, it's on the right place. Like sometimes you have it like on the wrong Pokemon. So it gives you some more like utility. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's not like super common. It's a weird card. So this is like probably the weirdest of the cards
Yes.
we got here, which I do like weird cards. I don't know if this is
It,
weird in a way
it
that it creates interesting gameplay, but is
it also creates a situation where I could gust something up. If you played the card in your turn, I could gust up your Pokemon, attack into it, not knock it out, not necessarily even stall it, but all of a sudden when your turn starts, it's attached to that Pokemon, which isn't what you want it to attach to as well. So it adds a new layer of disruption too, which is pretty cool. So, um, it's weird trying to figure out how to use it besides any ruling issues. Just when's it useful? I'm not sure. And obviously, we've been going a while, so I'm not going to try and figure it out now. But it is very, very interesting. So I'm going to give it maybe a 4 just because it's so interesting. It seems, it's going to take some time to figure out what to do with it.
yeah. I think a little bit of 3. It is interesting. Um, Honestly, it's kind of weird that you just have these like cards floating around like in space, which
Yeah.
just seems kind of awkward as well. So I'll give it a 3. I think it is a really interesting card. Um, yeah, but I don't know. It's kind of like the Espathra. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it, but like even more so. But yeah, I'll give it a 3 here. Then we got the next card here, Silver Scheme. This is a supporter. Only one line here, or I guess like 2 lines, but one sentence. The next turn, your opponent cannot use a supporter card. Yeah, pretty simple there.
A very good card, right, for control. All right, shutting down supporters on your opponent. I guess there hasn't been a card like this in the past. So a very good card for control decks. So I like it a lot. It's nice. It's simple, but it's powerful at the same time. So I think it's a really nice card myself.
Yeah, I like this card, and I don't think it's like overpowered either. Stopping supporters, it's fine. Okay, there's honestly not much supporter. Like, there's a lot of like a good amount of item lock and like ability lock and stuff. There's not really supporter lock very
Yeah.
much, which I think is fine. I guess. I mean, especially you could stack this with Badu, which would be kind of annoying. But like this is your supporter
Right.
for the turn, kind of slowing things down. I think in an interesting way. This was submitted by I didn't say PowerPa. Yeah, I forgot that as well. I remember in Discord they said like they just hadn't seen stuff like this before, and it's like a simple design. I really do like this card. Um, being disruptive. I don't think you'd be like looping this to like stop your opponent forever, which I think is good. Trying to think. I mean, you could like loop it, but I don't think you'd loop it. Like you need to do it every turn, right? If you like break lock for a turn, then your
Right.
opponent just plays their thing. It's not quite the same as with item lock where they play all their stuff, but they can play something. Presumably. So, yeah, I feel like Silver Scheme is cool. It's simple. I could say like another mode on this card to let it like do something else to you know, give some more like value. Like, it slows the game down, right? Like it kind of just slows the down. I guess it can protect you from boss, which is kind of cool, or like other disruption. But yeah, I like this card a bunch. I think I'll give it a 4.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 as well. I was thinking possibly even a 5, but a 4. I like I don't think it should have a second line of text just because I think it's pretty good at what it does.
Yeah,
And obviously for decks, it's very powerful. So I don't think I want to give a control deck anything beyond this, right? Because this is something a control player would love to have in their deck. So it doesn't. And obviously for non-control players, it's not going to see a lot of play. Maybe although like a lot of people play Badoo and stuff, so if you're playing
yeah.
a Badoo deck, there's a good chance you're going to play this just because now you're slowing the game down by that first turn or two, even more so.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with that with Badoo. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Like Badoo decks a lot more setup based than you're using spores to set up. I think it opens some
Yeah.
interesting questions. So I really like this card here. A very simple card. And we have the next card here. This is Blacephalon EX submitted by Sailor May. This is, I will say, it's not like an Ultra Beast. I don't know. Like it kind of refers to Ultra Beast, but there was like the Ultra Beast mechanic, which isn't on this, but doesn't really matter. 190 HP EX here. Once during your turn, you discard all cards attached to this Pokemon and add this to your prize cards. And then this is the ability Explosive Buffoonery as well. And at the end of your turn, look at your prize cards and take a prize card. You can't use more than one Explosive Buffoonery ability each game. And Clown Around for 2 colors does 90 and more for each energy attached to your Pokemon. So what are your thoughts here?
The ability is very good, right? In terms of looking at your prize cards, you right, you get to look at all your prize cards and get one. So that's very nice there. You can only do it once per game, so I guess this is now a new marker, like a GX or a V marker. You need some other something, which
Yeah.
that part's awkward there. But I guess you could just have a coin that you flip over or
I
something
guess I'll
like
say
that.
that regarding this card, I would be like kind of annoyed by that, but we have Legacy Energy, which like technically does that as well, so that's fine, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it should be an Ultra Beast, I would say, right? Because all the other every Blacephalon is an Ultra Beast, right? In the
Yeah, I
TCG.
mean it's like weird with the Ultra Beast. They like it was like a mechanic, right? And I don't think they printed the Ultra Beast, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me in the comments. Except for in Pocket. But they haven't printed Ultra Beast since Sun and Moon. So they haven't printed the mechanic, but I don't know if they printed it in the Pokemon. But yeah, I mean, and it does interact with the prize cards. That's like Ultra Beast thing, and I think this is interesting here. It's like good. I mean, it's at the end of your turn though as well. I guess I'd almost criticize that this is like little like you probably toss it in every deck. It's not like super good, but it's pretty good. It's searchable, but it's
Mhm.
not like super powerful to search out. Like you'd get it when you can, but you're gonna prioritize
Right.
setting up over it.
I mean, it would go. We just had a control card. This would go in every control deck, right? Because control decks like to get supporter, like to dig into the prizes because they can't do it otherwise. This might be the best way to do it that we've seen in a long time because you get any one prize card, right?
Yeah, I guess it reminds me a lot of
So,
Gladion. But there's that like I don't know. It reminds you of Gladion.
um,
Which
And then the other thing is, I will say the attack, what 90 plus 10 per each energy attached to your Pokemon is not it's not terrible. I mean, it's not good because on a two price Pokemon, but I'm thinking back actually in those days with the like the welder decks and stuff, right? Because this is kind of the era when Blacephalon was out. It wouldn't, it's not terrible because you had some energy stuff there, although the damage level is low. So you want to get it obviously out of play into your prize cards. So it's just if you start it, that's your no, it's in play, so it doesn't matter even if you start it. So I like the ability a lot. I'm honestly, it might be just too good of an ability. Is probably my concern.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think it's like super like problem. Like sometimes good abilities, like there's the Rattata that like just drew a lot of cards. This isn't like something that like if you use it, it's like drastically changes the outcome of a game either. I will say I do like the attack. I think I like with these like good sporting Pokemon, just like these clean simple attacks with some depth to them, um, that like are useful and like usable. So I like this card a bunch here. It does, but you look at your prize cards, you don't shuffle them, which is interesting as well. So yeah, actually I wasn't even thinking about that. Like you know where all your prize
mm,
cards are, which is very good. Not just the one
yeah.
that you're taking then. Um, so this card is good. I might have a shuffle, but I don't know. This might be. I mean, this is better. I don't know if that's
Right.
good for designer or not, but yeah, I mean, I really like this card. I'm gonna give it a I'm gonna give it a between a 4 and a 5. I think I'll give it a 4. I mean, yeah. What are you thinking?
Uh, I'll give it a 4 as well, and we'll see where things end up at the end. So with
Um,
this, so
yeah,
it is a very nice card that's useful for some decks, but obviously not. Power knockout decks aren't as worried about a card like this though.
yeah. It's a little slow as well compared to some other prize interaction options. You can't get the card that turn.
Yes.
We technically it is that turn, but you're not using it that card that turn. Then we got the last card here. This is submitted by Icicle. This is Vikavolt EX. This is a stage 2 lightning Pokemon here with 320 HP with the ability Buzzword. Once during your turn, you may shuffle an Ace Spec from your discard pile into your deck. You can't use more than one Buzzword ability each turn. And then Bug Cannon for 2 lightning. It does 140. If this Pokemon has a grass energy attached, it also does 90 to 100 points to bench Pokemon. So what are your thoughts here?
I mean, I think the attack is fair for it for an ability-based Pokemon, right? 140 and 90 to the bench. Actually, it's probably might even be more of a stronger attack than it probably should have. Now, I'm concerned about this ability, though. I think my initial thought is this ability is overpowered, right? Now you have unlimited access to your ace spec, right? Every because you play it every turn now, right? It goes back into your deck every turn. It's a stage 2, but the question becomes does the fact that it's a stage 2 slow it down enough? I'm not sure. I think it's a pretty powerful card. I'm concerned about it from that
Yeah.
aspect.
What like ace specs are you concerned about? Like, give an example.
I mean that's true. I mean, being able to obviously like Prime Catcher with that gusting every turn.
Yeah, but you need to
Um,
like find Prime Catcher probably. You might just use your
yeah.
supporter. You could just like boss.
I
Not
mean,
the boss
because
isn't
it's a
very good, but
stage.
like
Yeah, and it's a stage 2, so I'm probably often going to put it in a deck with Pidgeot EX possibly, which lets me get the ace spec back. But of course, then I could get some other card that does something similar as well. Obviously, there's early game ace specs that's set up that aren't as good. That we have the one that the energy that reduces prize cards that you can't do more than once, right?
yeah.
By what the card says. How about the one was it Neo Upper Energy? The one that's two energies?
Yeah, you
Can
can
you
reuse
repeat
that
that one?
one. Which is interesting.
S-
Like I don't hate that. Neo Prodigy
Um,
I think is bad, I will say. Like without maybe this is intended to be used with as well because it works. Neo Prodigy is good in Dragapult. It's like Dragapult's
right.
like super good though. And like it's kind of
We
bad and
have the
everything else. It's not technically bad and everything else, but like it's not that good of a card. But yeah, wait, there's the blanking on it. Oh, Survival Race. That one could potentially be problematic. It's Booger's at full HP and would be knocked out. It's not. Your main HP becomes 10, then you discard it. So you could loop this and then be like invincible technically. I don't know exactly the viability of that, but that's the one I am a little worried about. Unless there's another one I'm forgetting. I guess there is. Give me a second. Centralization zone. Can you recover that? Nah, never mind. You can't recover that one. So, yeah, I think it's like fine. I don't know. I mean, like you need to be able to search the card out again to get value out of it, really. And I mean, like comparing this to Pidgeot EX, Pidgeot EX's ability, I'd say, is better. Um, Not that Pidgeot EX's ability isn't quite good, but like that ability is just really, really nice. And this is like fine. I mean, it could be useful, but like you need to really be playing it over and over to get a lot of value out of it. And it is a stage 2 prizer, which is a bit of a liability, and its attack is like fine, but it doesn't really synergize super well with other things. Like you need to be playing lightning to use it, and you also need to be playing grass to use it more. Um,
Yeah.
so like,
And so, if you had that and you had Energy Search Pro with like Goldango, obviously the game's done at that point. Essentially, a card like Scoop Up Cyclone could
wait,
could
like
be,
with Energy Search Pro, are you saying it's good?
yeah, be good,
Well,
right?
but no, you're gonna run
Because
out of
you just
energies in your deck, probably. Right? You'll get all
oh,
them.
because it's from your deck. You're right. It doesn't
Yeah,
go. You're
it's not
right.
like
So
Max
Scoop
Rod.
Up.
Max Rod could be
Sorry.
pretty
So
expensive.
Scoop Up Cyclone. So Scoop Up Cyclone would be very good with this, right?
That could be. I don't think it would be broken, right? I mean, like ultimately that effect is on a supporter as well. Like most of the spec effects are on a supporter. Um, I don't think it's broken. Like I think it's fair. I don't know exactly how
Okay.
interesting it is. It only interacts with the ability only interacts with one card in your deck, which I don't really love.
Yeah.
And then the attack is like fine, but like whatever. It doesn't even have any synergy there really at all, outside of the new upper energy thing either. So I don't know. I think this card's like a 3. I don't think there's.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Is I think it's a fair card. Whether it's a good card or not, I'm not certain. But yeah, through the limitations of it, I think a 3, which is fine.
Yeah. So then we got a tie between Silver Scheme, the one where your opponent can't play a support next turn, and Blacephalon EX,
Right.
the prize card one. So which one do you like here more?
I like the simplicity of Silver Scheme myself. Just
Okay.
no supporter. It's just nice, clean, simple. It has a use in some cases.
Yeah, yeah, I like that one a lot. I think that like I liked all these cards. I think my least favorite category was probably actually the main attackers. Not that the main attackers weren't cool, but yeah, the winner for this category is Silver Scheme here, submitted by wait, who submitted that? That was by I've lost it. By Parapa. Just some really cool cards here. I like them a lot. We got Silver Scheme, Kingler, and Porygon Z EX being the 3 winners here. Definitely some cool cards that didn't win as well, but I think this is fun. I hope you enjoyed it. The listeners slash viewers and Icon Fossil, what are your thoughts on this? Wrapping up here.
Yeah, it was a fun discussion. Not something we've done before, so obviously you can let us know if you want more of this or not. And a big thank you to everyone that designed and put the effort into designing these cards because was very much appreciated and fun to take a look at these.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, if you like submit a card, as I said, I looked at all of them except there. Okay, there was like a deadline, so there were like a couple that were after. I think everyone submitted one after the deadline, also submitted one before the deadline. But anyways, not that so that meant that I was looking at least at one of your cards. But if you have a question about why one of the cards didn't get in, ask me 10 types on my YouTube channel, 10 types. Then I can like give you reasoning there. And then also, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them or whatever. Leave them in the comment section on YouTube, on the Uncommon Fossil YouTube channel or 10 Types YouTube channel. But you can also listen to us on podcasting platforms if you want. Though we unfortunately won't see the comments there probably. But we would love if you listen there if that's more convenient for you as well. But also make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube channels. That really helps us out. But we hope you enjoyed it. As always, we're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.